Monica Buendía, a spy from Sunkland's Wind Crows, received orders from her superior Graham to send false information that could push the kingdom toward. Troubled by the actions of the White Crows, she's insulted by a noble in the castle corridor, but Prince Abel intervened and forced the man to apologize. Witnessing Abel's firm leadership and sense of justice, Monica realized that the once indecisive prince has changed. She secretly sends two messenger birds, one carrying the official false report and another carrying the truth. Meanwhile, urgent news arrives. The royal army of Remno has already been deployed along the highway, led by Prince Abel himself. Realizing the army arrival could soon lead to a violent clash with the revolutionaries, Prince Sion prepares to meet Abel and determine his intentions. Faced with the possibility that the two princes might kill each other, Mia struggles with fear, but ultimately steals her resolve, determined not to remain behind while events spiral into tragedy.
Have we heard anything from the rebels yet?
As the horses lined up, a tall man who had been assigned as Abel's guard raised a sharp booming voice. The man's name was Bernardo Vigil. He was a tall man with a thick mustache and the piercing gaze of a falcon. As one of the strongest warriors in Remno, he is the head of the Kingdom of Remno Immediate Response Army Unit. He was also hailed as the Adamantine Spear, which was a tribute to his prowess in a battle and because of his weapon of choice. Unlike standard issue spears, which had metallic tips crafted onto wooden shafts, his was a monster of a weapon, a metallic behemoth forged entirely from a single bar of steel. Despite the punishing weight, which precluded most people from using it, he wielded the spear with ease. Unlike the Diamond Legion, who had yet to prove their mettle in battle, the Adamantine Spear was a veteran knight who had destroyed numerous bandits, won all battles with neighboring countries, and raised his martial arts each time. If only the spear could talk. Now I understand how this is supposed to work. The actual commanding will be done by Bernardo, and I'm just here as a decoration and claim credit for his campaign.
Prince, how do you want to proceed? I think we have given them more than enough time. Fortunately, Senia has low walls, and the barricades built by the rebels are weak. It won't be difficult to break through.
Contrary to Abel's prediction, Bernardo diligently deferred to him for every significant decision. Despite the prevailing tendency to make light of the weak-willed prince, the veteran commander always lent a willing ear to Abel's thoughts. It was a perfect display of his respect to him and to the chain of command. But it also means that every decision weighed heavily on Abel's conscience because the decision to suppress his own people would be his own judgment and command. Prince's duty, huh? This place will be a thorn in our side. If we let it be, the troops will also appreciate a morale boost. We should strike hard and fast.
Report! There's a new report from the town!
What? Did they send a messenger?
Yes. Well, no. I mean, that's... Two children came, and they requested a meeting with His Highness Prince Abel.
What a ludicrous request. The rebels wanting to see Prince Abel in person? And they are just kids? Who do they think they are?
Well, they're not ordinary children. They claim to be His Highness' school.
Excuse us? Brushing aside the scout's sputtering explanation, a boy stepped onto the scene. He walked with the grace and gravitas of a natural sovereign, and soldiers found themselves reflexively stepping aside to clear a path. Prince Sion, why are you here? Wait, if you're here, does that mean? Abel's eyes widened as a second figure appeared from behind Sion. Princess Mia? It's been a long time, Prince Abel. I've missed you. Platinum-colored hair emitting a soft glow like the moon in the sunlight. Beautiful eyes with deep intellectual brilliance and shiny skin. With all the breathtaking beauty of that night at the dance party, Mia Luna Tearmoon appeared before Abel. So do I. I miss you terribly. But how I wish I was the aim for your visit. Oh, are you saying there was another reason for me visiting you? Mia tilted her head whiskily, but Abel knew her well that this was just an act. Of course, it might be that she came to see him, but it was just a happenstance. He surely came to see the end of this stupid battle. It didn't seem for Abel that Princess Mia, the wisdom of the Empire, would come all the way here just to see him. She probably won't take my side, but even so, for one vulnerable moment, he allowed himself to waver. Then he put his heart aside and donned the armor of resolve. I'm happy to hear that. What about you, Prince Sion? Can I assume you also miss me, like Princess Mia? No, I am not. At first, I'd only intended to accompany Princess Mia as her guard. Now, however, I've seen too much to stand idly by. It is a little earlier than expected, but it is time to fulfill the promise of a rematch from the summer. A declaration caught Abel off guard, and he stared blankly for a second before quickly collecting himself. Are you challenging me to a duel? Yes, but if you return to the royal capital without pulling out your sword, then we can wait until the winter swordsmanship tournament. Abel stared hard at Sion, who cocked a provocative brow. Just as Abel was about to speak,
You don't have to listen to him, Your Highness. To challenge the prince and commander of an army to a single combat is absolutely stupid.
Stand down, Bernardo. The crown prince of Sunkland has placed his life on the line for the justice he believes in. If I decline the challenge, it will affect the morale of the soldiers. Abel dismissed Bernardo's advice. Then he glanced at Mia and smiled slightly. And part of me just doesn't want to back down with her watching. So be it, Prince Sion. Let us duel. This is strange. Didn't I say that I came here for him? According to Elise's story, at times like this, the next step should be something romantic. A hug, probably? And then everyone smiles as well. The atmosphere is lifted, and we all go home and problem solved. That's why Mia was waiting with her arms wide open, expecting a hug from Prince Abel. For some reasons incomprehensible to her, the focus on the story has shifted to Abel and Sion instead of Mia. This feels like a weird deja vu. Alright, it was during the swordsmanship tournament when they were eating sandwiches for lunch. Just like now, those two went off with their own conversation and left her hanging. Our roads are wide and flat, so it should be good enough place for a duel. When Mia looked at them again, the two were already walking away. A duel? Prince Abel, wait! You can't! Hey! Get away! Mia rushed to catch up, but was stopped by Bernardo. Bernardo, I command you, protect the Imperial Highness, Princess Mia. Make sure that no harm comes to her.
My lord, are you sure?
I need the princess to bear witness to the legitimacy of this duel. She is a neutral party, coming neither from Sunkland nor Remno. If the king of Sunkland complains, she can testify of what happened. No! Prince Abel, this is all wrong! I was looking forward to seeing you again, Princess Mia. I only wish it had happened under better circumstances. I wish we could have all that resolve and determination. And now that this time has finally arrived, I'm getting cold feet. He set his jaw, then he turned away, severing their gaze as surely as if he'd used a sword. No! Mia's scream failed to move Abel. He did not look back. His eyes were now set firmly on the boy standing in front of him. Are your ears deaf to her words? They're deaf to all words. The die has been cast. There's no stopping now, Prince Sion. I thought you, of all people, would understand. Rot covers your father's throne, Prince Abel. Do you choose to rot with it? Rotten or not, a king is still needed. A world without order is hell. Chaos breeds suffering, and the people will be its kindling. No. He's got a point. Without a king or a major leader, order would collapse. Bandits will swoop in. People will suffer more. Peace would end. If my family's throne is corrupted, it is my job to correct it, not yours. And yet, you have overlooked how your people are trampled over by your government. To that end, Sion was willing to initiate a military intervention to remove the corrupt regime. The views of Sion and Abel are irreconcilable. Abel chose to side with order and loyalty to his king and kingdom. If you wish to partake in oppressing the people, then you shall before my sword, Ava Remno. Just like that day in the arena, Abel lifted his weapon high above his head in his trademark stand of all-out aggression. Sion, meanwhile, held his blade with a loose arm, its tip angled down in a stance primed to parry and counter. Nostalgic, isn't it? Don't think that it will be the same as last time though. You won't be catching me off guard again. Nor do I intend to. We both know I'm a one-trick pony. So let's see if the trick still works. Having previously seen that Sion employed a reactionary style, Abel wasn't prepared for the abrupt assault. With a reflexive step backward, Abel broke from his stance, giving Sion the opening he sought. His advantage, however, proved short-lived, shattered by the devastating arc of Abel's strike as he, balance impaired and feet unplanted, nonetheless brought his blade crashing down in the middle of his retreat. His sword was a blur, and Sion rushed to react. The heaviness and speed of the blow far exceeded Sion's expectation, and he raised his sword just in time to receive Abel's downward strike. The two weapons collide with such a force that Sion also had to step back to soften the impact. Such power even though you are not in a perfect stance. I can just imagine how much heavier your strike could be if you were in a good position. Sion remarked as he continued to back off. I see I wasn't the only one who was training for the rematch. Unlike some people, I'm no natural. When you're training to beat a genius, you learn to go the extra mile. Abel, who has regained his stance, launched an attack this time. I admire your effort, but victory against me won't be so easy. From a powerful step, Sion tilted his sword and parried it. Sparks flew over the blades. Abel's sword was so heavy that Sion's parry couldn't catch up. A bloody gash appeared on Sion's arm. Yet, it did not faze him. Though known for his vicious riposte, Sion has never demonstrated his signature strike, not even on the day of the swordsmanship tournament. That'll change as his sword broke from the clash and lashed out in a ferocious sweep that traced a trail with surgical precision through Abel's side, who took it like a champ. Instead, he roared and drove his shoulder into Sion. So this is your plan against me? You plan to close the gap instead of stepping away? I must say, I'm impressed, Prince Abel. Well, I must also say that you are not pushover yourself, Prince Sion. One wrong move, and I'm a dead man. I'm wearing chainmail, and you were still able to cut through like it's butter, said Abel before glancing at his bloody side, panting it. Every time the two princes crossed their swords, a fountain of fiery sparks and crimson petals would scatter. Each of Abel's attacks were answered with a parry and riposted by Sion, but not without Sion receiving also damage by the heaviness of Abel's swings. The Prince of Sunkland fought with a deadly grace, spinning and twirling as though in a dance, the soldiers watching all held their breaths as they admired the beauty of their motion that accentuated by arcs of bright red blood. There is only one weapon that Abel has in confronting Sion's overwhelming sword techniques: his staunch refusal to yield. It is normal to hesitate when staring down at a blade, but Abel overcame this hesitation by swallowing his fears. He stepped forward every time their blades met. By stepping in instead of stepping away, Abel minimized the lethality of Sion's attacks. Together with his armor, he could be wounded, but he would not fall. To be able to stand against me this long, I didn't think you'd be such a thought not to crack. Ha! I'm glad I didn't let you down. Abel smiled, but it was a strained one. Abel felt that Sion's lashes were becoming more and more powerful. For a genius like Sion, adjusting his sword attacks while fighting is probably like a child's play. I don't think I can last any longer. The next one is probably the last one. Abel dropped to one knee, his face a mask of pain, and let out a breath. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he noticed a familiar figure. It was Mia. That's right. I can't give up yet. He drew a deep breath and forced himself to his feet. En garde, Prince Sion. Let's end this. He tightened his grip of his sword, wheeling all his remaining strength into his arms for one final strike.
Please stop. Both of you. You will really die.
Seeing the two of them, Mia raised her desperate plea again, tears running down her face without her even knowing or caring. To her horror, her voice didn't seem to reach anybody. Their weapons were drawn, and she could feel that this would be the last strike.
The end. My words couldn't reach them, just like before.
Her vision blurred, and suddenly she was back in the old empire. She traveled with Ludwig throughout the empire. She pleaded again and again, trying to placate the resentful masses, speaking as the princess of the empire, but her words were lost in a sea of anger and hatred. Ultimately, her efforts proved useless. She failed to win the trust of her people.
It's the same as back then.
Helpless and hopeless, she watched as both princes dashed forward. Her whole world seemed to darken as they raised their swords, each ready to plunge into the chest of the other. In a way, she thought, this might have been inevitable. Faced with people who have already drawn their swords and determined to fight, words were ultimately powerless, and hers especially reached no one. Or did they? Did Mia's voice really not reach anyone? Absolutely not. Even though her words didn't reach the dueling princess, the bond she had forged would carry her voice. And who was listening to her voice? Now, isn't this bloody troublesome? A form flew past Mia in a blur. In its wake, the tears that ran down Mia's cheek fluttered in the air, shining brightly. The form continued to surge forward like a sentient gale, soaring up into the sky before crashing back down between the two princes just as their swords were about to meet. Abel swung his blade down. Sion swept his up. Time to break it up, boys. You're making our dear princess cry. The two princes, both disarmed, froze and stared down the blades now pointed at their chest, toward the man who held them. Dion, the aura-forming Alaya, a sword in each hand, smiled. My princess is a crybaby, you know, so would appreciate if you don't give her a reason to cry. The sudden appearance of an ally brought a wave of relief that washed through Mia and turned her legs to jelly. She swayed a little before toppling backward, but she landed, not on the hard surface of the ground, but in the tender embrace of something warm and soft.
Mia-sama!
It was a nostalgic voice. Mia spun around to see a familiar face.
Anne? Oh,
her first and most loyal vassal, held her in her arms. With tears in her eyes, Mia hugged Anne and buried her face in her chest, sobbing.
Insolent knave! You dare point your weapon at His Highness Prince Abel? Lower it at once! You have no honor? No shame? This was a sacred duel between the royals.
Oh well, I guess you're right. Must have been hard on you resisting to help your beloved prince. And then little old me just strolls in and joins the fun. Annoying, isn't it? But you see, the thing is, my allegiance is not sworn to any of these brats.
Shut up! That rudeness is worthy of death. Consider your life forfeit.
Immediately after, an enraged Bernardo started running towards Dion. Dion just smiled, dropped the sword in his left hand, and switched to a two-handed grip for the one in his right. He watched his approaching foe with a delighted grin.
This is it for this video. We will continue with the story of the Guillotine Princess on the next episode. This is Marco the Viran Mexican with Jobless Wings. Matanem!